We all know what's happening. Eric Gardner, Tanisha Anderson, Tamir Rice, Natasha McKenna, Walter Scott, Betty Jones, Eric Reason, Dominique Clayton, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd. As I read about these stories, watch the footage, even witness the protesting in Chicago in person, and read so many different opinions, I honestly felt that I still struggled to truly empathize with the African American community, to put myself in their shoes. Fortunately, the church that I'm a part of on campus at U of I has African American members, and my church asked them to share in last week's Wednesday night prayer meeting, just to share how they're feeling, and to maybe give us a perspective of how the African American community feels. And one of those members kind of laid it all out like this. He said, imagine you're there. You see all this happening. You see that officer kneeling on someone's neck. But instead of George Floyd, it's your friend. It's a friend that you treasure so much, a friend that both of you share memories, a friend that you've had so many awesome experiences with. And you can't do anything but just watch as that officer slowly takes the life of your friend. And he said, imagine what you would feel. He said that after seeing what happened to George Floyd, he himself felt anger, frustration, sadness, fear. And it wasn't just one of those emotions. It was all of them. Every waking moment, he felt that he would just continually go through a cycle after cycle after cycle of these emotions, until finally he felt so drained and so exhausted that he felt traumatized. And the last thing he wanted to do was be on social media and see it all over again. But he said, even imagining that it was your friend and that cycle of emotions that you could potentially go through, even that's not enough. In order for it to be enough, you have to multiply that by 400 years of this crap. Generation upon generation. And that's what it truly feels. And after hearing that, I realized that, there is no way that I could possibly understand what it feels like. There's no way that I could truly understand, to truly put myself in the shoes of the African American community. You wanna know why? It's because of privilege. I've never had the talk from my parents, telling me how to behave when I get pulled over so I don't get killed. I've never been scared of getting shot while I'm jogging through my neighborhood. I've never been afraid of getting shot to death while I'm sleeping in my own home. I wasn't scared of getting denied the lease that I got for my apartment this past year. But you know what I was scared of and hesitant about? Posting this video. I was scared that, maybe I would say something wrong or make myself seem ignorant. But I realized that silence is also violence, especially if I have this platform that I share my life with all of you. It doesn't matter if I have a huge fan base or not. I realized that if I decided to stay neutral, then I was siding with the oppressor. So now that I had a better perspective of the situation and also realized the ugly reality of my privilege, then I asked myself, what could I do? What can you do? What can we all do? So here are 4 action items that you and I can commit to. The first action item, listen to Black voices. And this can happen in a ton of different ways. We can have conversations with them, reaching out to friends and African American friends and family. Because out of these conversations, healing and reconciliation that should have happened so long ago can come out of those. If you want different perspectives, you have to go to them. Those different perspectives aren't going to come to you. And if you're worried about listening, don't worry. Once you get into those different perspectives, you'll just naturally listen. We live in a very diversified society. So diversify your media intake. Follow Black social media accounts. Read Black literature. Watch TV shows that talk about racism in America. And I think at the end of the day, it's also important to realize that you are who you are, so let those other people be who they are. Action item number 2, protest. Protesting is about elevating Black voices so they can be heard. It's not about, oh yes, finally I have an excuse to get out of the house after being locked down because of COVID. It's not about being able to loot businesses without facing the repercussions. These Black voices have been crying out for so long, and they should have been heard long ago. So if you can, safely, protest. Raise up those voices, because now more than ever, they need to be heard. Action item number 3, vote. You know, I'm 21, I've been voting since 2016, but I'll be honest with you, I haven't really paid attention to the local level. It's all about the president. But especially in light of what just happened and what has been happening for so long, I realized that I can't ignore that local level, because the local level is where these changes need to be made. So you bet for this upcoming November elections, I will be doing my research, especially at that local level. You think maybe voting may not change anything? Take to Instagram, at Campaign Zero, #8can'twait. Take a look at those. You'll see that there are states that are actually already in the process of changing their legislation. And the 4th action item, pray. You know, I've been pretty transparent on this platform that I'm Christian. It's what I believe, and it's also a core part of my identity. And when I look at all this crap that's happening in our nation, you know, all the hurt, the violence, the injustice, the oppression, I realize that it's a human issue. It's a human issue of sin in the heart. It's a sin issue. And sin issues can only be fixed by God. So we need to pray. And there are so many different groups of people that we can be praying for. Pray for the African American community. They've put up with this for 400 years. And all of their hurt and anguish and pain, pray for them. If you have family and friends that are African American, bring them up by name. Pray for the convicted officers. You know, I can't imagine what they may be feeling. But regardless of what they're feeling right now, we need to be praying for their hearts. Pray for their families. Imagine what their families are going through, seeing their beloved family member about to be put on trial. And speaking of trials, pray for our local leaders, specifically Missouri Attorney General Keith Ellison. Ellison is in charge of the prosecution of those 4 officers. This moment counts so much, and this nation can't afford to let this moment slip by. You know, these action items and even more resources will be linked down below, so make sure you guys take a look at that at the end of this video. You know, I recognize that I have not done my part in these ways in the past. So to the African American community, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for not doing so long before George Floyd was murdered. You know, this is the whole reason why this video is titled Sitting in Ashes. You know, in the Bible, wearing sackcloth and ashes was a demonstration of mourning and repentance. In other words, it's an action item. It's not enough to say that we're sorry and to post a black square on our Instagrams. It's not enough to donate and have conversations right now. Showing solidarity means consistency. It means we have the ability to show up and be a positive force for change.